Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And you can see that we are actually building something that is very small, number one. We're also in Evergreen Harbor, and you could probably tell from the title already that this is specifically for a plant sim. So a lot of you likely already know that we did just get a new scenario added to The Sims 4. This is the plant sim scenario. There are a few things that you have to do. You have to eat the forbidden fruit, which will actually turn your sim into a plant sim. Your plant sim has to talk to plants 5 times. You have to harvest a perfect quality plant. You have to satisfy water needs 5 times, absorb solar energy from plants 5 times, photosynthesize by absorbing sunlight 25 times, and you have to care for plants as a plant sim 99 times. Now, you're only a plant sim for a couple of days. I think I want to say it's like 5 days. Yeah, I think it's 5 days. And the reason why this excites me so much is because plant sims were one of my favorite sims, I guess sim styles. Can you say that? I don't know. They were one of my favorite kinds of sims in the previous games. I believe we had plant sims in, I want to say, The Sims 3 and The Sims 2. I think I loved them in The Sims 2. They were so much fun to play, but they were a permanent life state. In The Sims 4, they are not permanent unless you download a mod, which I 110% did about, I think it was like a couple of months ago, more than a couple of months. I actually was doing an off-camera legacy centered around a plant sim. She was so beautiful. I loved her so very much. And basically there's a mod out there that allows you to make the plant sim life state permanent. And it was kind of tedious. I can't even lie. It was a little bit tedious to play with, but it was so much fun at the same time. So when I saw this scenario come out, thinking about spring being right around the corner, I think we've technically, I think we're actually approaching the first day of spring. I'm not even sure, but I know that Earth Day is on the 22nd, and it just all came together, and I got really inspired to build something for a plant sim, and I decided to just do something tiny, mainly because there was an image that I saw on Pinterest, and I thought it was so cute. It was like a little, I'm not going to even call it a container home. I don't think it was a container home. I think it was just a tiny home, and it had an attached greenhouse to it. I will put it on screen for you now if you'd like to take a look. But I was so inspired by this picture, and I was just thinking, I can make this so green, have so many pops of color, and just be the perfect little oasis for your little leafy friends. That's how I refer to plant sims, by the way, just little leafy friends. They're so cute. They like shed leaves every now and then, and they can like shake pollen off. It is honestly really precious if you haven't seen it. So I would highly recommend trying out that scenario because I think plant sims are super cool and they're not even a permanent occult in the game. But you can see that this is pretty much coming together. I wanted there to be kind of this not really shaded area, but it's semi-protected because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I took the kind of glass square things from the debug menu from Island Living, and I think they were mainly meant to put in, or on, I should say, a dock so you could look into the water from the dock, but I put them up top just to add a little bit of coverage, and I just wanted there to be this little grass area. Like I used this grass flooring technically from Eco Lifestyle, and I put it on this front deck, and there's just this little awning, there's hanging plants everywhere. It was becoming so unbelievably cute to me that I could not stop. And this is like the one time that I felt like I could really use a lot of the nifty knitting hanging plants that we got, because I don't use them that often because they come in just a lot of very bright pastel colors, and it's not really my thing. But now we're working on some of the landscaping. I just wanted to get some of the general plants out on the front deck. There's also some gardening pots because, as I just mentioned, your sim has to do a lot with gardening and talking to plants and absorbing things from them, and I don't know, just kind of vibing with them. But I really liked the landscaping. It is very full, very colorful. I was even able to squeeze in a little teeny tiny little pond, and it's kind of useless, but I think it's really cute. I just wanted there to be another water source. Now, something I did, because this is solely based off of my memory of playing with plant sims, is I didn't include a shower in the bathroom. Now, there's a reason for this. You can add one if you would like a shower or even an outside bathtub. You do whatever you'd like. There's space, or at least you can find space to do this. But what I did is I created this little sectioned off garden area with some more gardening pots. And then I just added one of the kiddie pools because your adult Sims can relax or lounge in the kiddie pools, and your plant Sims have to be watered. Now this means that they have to either get in the shower, I believe get in a pool or something, maybe like stand out in the rain. I would test that personally because now I can't remember, and I'm gonna feel really silly if I intentionally didn't include a shower and then there was no actual source of water for your plant sim. So I'm so sorry if that's the case. But here you can see that we are trying to shape out the lot because I didn't want to use a really tall fence and kind of block that front entrance. Do you know what I mean? It would just be a little bit too high, I think. So I used the fence, the higher fence, off on the left-hand side, and then I just tried to frame the front yard with a ton of plants, because you cannot go crazy with plants when you're working with a plant sim or making a home for them at all. And I was trying out some different terrain paints, seeing what I liked. I think a lot of them were just a little bit too bright for me, and actually at its core, this home is very bright and not my style, but I just thought it looked so freaking nice. I was ecstatic, but this is where I ended up making the little pond. So again, you can't really do anything with this pond. I think I added a few different things to it, like the little pond details. I think I added fireflies. So at night, they'll be kind of just, I think they're fireflies, right? Or lightning bugs, whatever you want to refer to them as. You'll see a few of those on the pond at nighttime, which is really, really pretty. But you might consider, if this is something that your plant sim would enjoy, you might be able to stock this pond with just some fish. That way your sim can go fishing without leaving their home lot. That could be something. Or you might even want to get rid of the pond altogether and just create a little tiny pool in this area. You can pretty much do whatever you would like, but I was trying to make it look a little bit more flush with the landscaping, and it was just really difficult because it was such a small space to work with, and I was also trying to keep the plants from poking through the other side of the fence. So I was working on this for a little while. It didn't look exactly how I was envisioning it, but I do love the end result. And what I basically do is I just add a lounge chair and a little side table with a little lemonade pitcher on it, so your sim could just kind of sit there, take in all of the sunlight, drink some cool lemonade, pop over to their little kiddie pool to hydrate, tend to their plants, and really just hang out amongst all of their little leafy friends. That was the thought process, but I did only use these little tiny gardening plots. If you wanted some of the bigger ones, you could of course swap them out. I also used this really cute little mailbox from Nifty Knitting. Again, I don't use it that often just because a lot of the colors are so pastel and bright, but it was a really cute addition to this build. I didn't find a suitable place for the bee box, so there aren't a ton of outdoor activities for your plant sims. This is really just meant to be a kind of like tiny little oasis lot for them, but there are still a fair amount of activities. I think in the greenhouse, I ended up getting a flower arranging station, and then of course there's all the gardening plots all over the place. And there are also a few different skill building items onto the interior, which is where we are now. So this is technically a tier 3 tiny home. It's called a small home, and I was over the limit to make it an actual tiny home by like 2 tiles, which is technically the bathroom, and I was not willing to change that. I think the bathroom would have been the logical thing to get rid of just because of the tile count, but it's really the addition of the greenhouse and the deck that put me over that tile count. So you could make adjustments if you wanted to actually reap the benefits of a tier 2 tiny home, but I decided that a small home would be perfect. So I used a lot of bright colors. Again, totally not my style. I used this yellow fridge and stove from the Country Kitchen kit, which is always a mouthful. The counters and the cabinets are from Dream Home Decorator. And then I used some, I want to say that's the backyard stuff, those chairs, I think, and this cool rug from Seasons that I have maybe used once in my entire life because it's this kind of like oblong, odd shape that I would probably not use in a lot of my builds, but I thought it was perfect for this just because it's kind of funky, it's kind of playful, and the colors matched really nicely, as well as this wood floor from Eco Lifestyle that I've used maybe once in my entire life too, because I never know how to use it. I feel like it brings a pattern into a room, and then I feel like I can't mix other patterns with it. But as you can see for this build, I completely ignored that because the chairs have a pattern on them too, and so does the rug. But I added a ton of plants on the interior as well, none of which you actually have to interact with, but I thought it would definitely show that there is a plant-loving sim who lives here, and this was also a great opportunity to use some of the items from the Blooming Rooms kit that I do not get to use very often because they're very either modern looking or they just come in super vibrant colors. I went with a lot of just like yellow, teal, and blue, I want to say. There's like touches of pink here and there, and of course white as kind of a base color for a lot of things, but it was just such a vibrant interior and it made me so happy, especially this big archway. I think it's technically a doorway, but the doors don't actually close. It's from the Industrial Loft kit. I've only used it, again, maybe once ever. I was so stoked to use that here, and it had been a hot minute since I used those Murphy beds. Now, I did thoroughly playtest this prior to uploading it to the gallery because I wanted to make sure that that Murphy bed was not going to be a problem. Now, this home is very tiny, so what I basically had to do is I wanted to make sure there was ample space for the kitchen and the dining in case there was more than one sim that was living here. But with this Murphy bed, when it's actually folded down, does that make sense? Folded down. When it's brought down, your Sims can relax on the bed and watch TV successfully. It's perfect. Nothing is blocked, which I was so happy about. And when you actually go ahead and lift the bed up, you have tons of room for activities. It's kind of like in Step Brothers when they get bunk beds and they're just like, there's so much room for activities here. That's how it felt when I lifted the Murphy bed with my playtest sim. I was like, you could do anything you want here. This is great. This is also the little tiny bathroom. Again, just the toilet and sink because I was thinking the kiddie pool would help them get their hydration. Oh gosh, did they still have a hygiene need? Oh, I could have messed up, guys. Don't come for me in the comments. I could have messed up. There's also a bonsai tree, so they could kind of play around with that. I don't know if that's frowned upon because it's a plant. Oh man, I didn't think that through. And a guitar, and then of course the flower arranging station in the little greenhouse as well, where I just decorated with, you guessed it, a ton of plants. And there's a chair in there so they could just like sit in their greenhouse, maybe when there's inclement weather outside, and just like soak in all the energy of all their other plants in their little greenhouse. But that is pretty much it for the build. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Across town, trying to get to you. I've been keeping my phone on no sound, facing you out, that's true. Now I get butterflies just thinking about your eyes, and that can't be all bad. Things came up, things went down, maybe turn back around. My spider sense screaming that I'm mad.